Our next speaker is Elias Jabbour. Elias is Associate Professor of Theory and Policy of Economic Planning at the Rio de Janeiro State University and one of the most prestigious Latin American researchers on Chinese socialism. He is a member of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Brazil and has written many books on Chinese market socialism and economic reforms, and many of you may have well attended his recently launched book with Alberto Gabriele entitled China, the Socialism of the 21st Century, which was published in English by Routledge. So Elias, and I should also add that you will also see Elias here, and along with the panel he's organizing on the Brazilian elections in a couple of weeks here. But Elias, please go ahead.
Thanks, Rajika. Thanks, Arnold August, for the invitation. The reason for this event is very significant. This is not just an issue involving the summit of the Americas against the Organization of Latin American and Caribbean States. I propose another question. What's the historical place of the so-called Monroe Doctrine almost 200 years after its release? This is a question. The immediate answer is simple: no. It's a neocolonial doctrine that inaugurates a particular historical form of imperialism. U.S. imperialism first colonized its own territory by murdering millions of indigenous people. At the beginning of the 19th century, U.S. began to try submitting the Latin America in a so-called New Order. In the Brazilian case, a very interesting case, the sagacity of Brazilian people and even of the Portuguese colonizers prevented the United States establishing itself in Amazon or putting Brazilian territorial unity in check like occurred in former Spanish colonies. Since then, the world has undergone several transformations, including not only the European revolutions in 8th century 38, the German unification under Bismarck leadership, and two imperialist wars. The United States, for example, in the second half of the 19th century, managed to unify its national territory, forming an immense continental economy protected by two oceans. Here is a feat that definitively marked the future of humanity. In the same way, in the 1970s, another event pointed the world towards the overcoming of capitalism by socialism. These are two historical processes that we must keep in mind when judging the beginning, the development, and the current stage of imperialist domination over Latin America and Caribbean states. With these two events, the unification of continental economy in the United States and the Russian Revolution, the conditions were set for a strategic clash, not only restricted to the struggle between capitalism and socialism, but in immediate plan, due to the fact that the Soviet Union has placed the anti-imperialist and anti-colonial struggle on the international agenda. The community of Latin American and Caribbean states and its emergence cannot be seen outside the context of the centrality of the anti-imperialist and anti-colonial struggle. This struggle is the noblest manifestation of humanity against the enemies of humanity itself. Being anti-imperialist is the noblest feeling a human being can aspire to. The foundation of Third International in 90s by Lenin elevates the anti-imperialist and anti-struggle to the level of the main aspect of the main contradiction. The center of gravity of the struggle for socialism has shifted from the center to the periphery of the system. The national and popular revolutions in China, Cuba, Vietnam, Korea, and different parts of Africa have demonstrated the strength of the people's struggle against imperialism. This struggle is more current than ever with the new historical ways in which imperialism has been reinventing itself through the ages. Imperialism is making the world in an increasingly violent and unstable place. The instability directly affects the weak link of imperialism, Latin America. In the last 20 years, the resistance movement to imperialist domination in the region has intensified with the rise of progressive governments in several countries, while Latin America has become laboratories for new forms of coups d'etat, lawfare, and hybrid warfare. For example, my country has been under imperialist domination since 2016 coup. We are at a time when, despite the end of first socialist experiments, the world openly contests the unipolar order and the so-called Western public opinion. Latin America and Caribbean have strongly demonstrated their capacity for mobilization and resistance after having defeats in the 80s, when Ronald Reagan governments launched a wave of counter-revolutionary violence against the region that has not been seen before in human history. Neoliberalism has brought our America to its knees, but it has launched its own possibilities of organization in even what we call particular path to socialism. In other words, the wave launched by the Russian Revolution arrived victorious in Cuba, and today is a real hope in experience, as those we can observe in Bolivia, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. The possibility of victory of a broad front of a patriotic and anti-fascist character in Brazil could be a necessary dialectical leap to open new horizons to Latin America and Caribbean. The Monroe Doctrine makes no sense on a continent that has already grasped its ability to resist, build, and rebuild itself. The presence of People's Republic of China and the productive and, according Professor Javier Vadel, pointed anti-neoliberal globalization that it inaugurated is a milestone in human history that should serve to Latin American leaders not only as a source of exporting products or receiving investments, but also a great possibility for the planning of foreign trade of our countries and a true myriad of a great project of continental integration with the second largest economy in the world. The productive and anti-neoliberal globalization inaugurated by China must be seen within a historical process of continuity of the Russian Revolution and similar impacts to the world that verified at the moment in which the gigantic economy was formed in the United States 2 centuries ago, 1 century half ago. If the formation of this continental economy in North America was a milestone in the world consolidation of capitalism, the formation of a continental economy in China and the inauguration of a productive globalization commanded by China is a new milestone in the historical transition that we have been experiencing from Russian Revolution till now. 2 points. The transition from capitalism to socialism. Latin America and Caribbean must be knowledge of these great historic events that is taking place at this very moment and before our eyes. Thank you so much.
I'm Michael Hudson. I'm appearing here for the International Manifesto Group. If you like this video and ones like it, please subscribe. For more information, go to the address on the screen.